Get connected, Fitchburg. We're launching Fitchburg Connect, the city's new monthly e-newsletter that keeps you informed about all the events, services, and updates that matter to you. Get it in your inbox once a month. Our first edition is live now. Sign up today to get Fitchburg Connect.
Hi, I'm Jeremy Crosby.
And I'm Nick Boucher. We're your hosts for the program that's all about your city, Talking Fitchburg.
Every weekday, we pull together the news, events, and information you need to stay on top of what's happening in the city of Fitchburg.
Find Talking Fitchburg on cable TV, Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, and our live stream on the web. Plus, you can find all our headlines and stories on Facebook, YouTube, and our video on demand service. This is your city.
Keep up with Talking Fitchburg and the issues affecting you and your neighbors.
It is 5:30 on June 1st of 2026. I'm calling to order this meeting of the Board of Public Works. First item of business is a roll call. We are running at full strength tonight. Kim Lobdell, Dave Wilburn, myself, Alder Jetzer, Alder Herbst, and Don Gutkowski. Moving on to public appearances for non-agenda items. We have no one in chambers and no one online, so I will skip forward to approval of minutes. I'm looking for a motion to approve the minutes of the May 18th, 2026 meeting.
I so move to approve the May 18th meetings.
Thank you, Dave.
Second that motion.
We got Dave W. and Dave H. Any comments or questions? Seeing none, I will call the vote. All in favor of the minutes as drafted in the agenda packet, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It is unanimous. And moving on. Report from the Director of Public Works, Mr. Tim Volker, PE.
Thank you. Just a follow-up item from our last meeting on May 18th regarding the tennis courts at the City of Middleton's Stonefield Park. So I reached out to the Director of Director of Parks and Recreation at the City of Middleton. Her name's Kylie. She did not have firsthand knowledge of the original project details for that, kind of the exact material or the installation timeline. So she recommended I reach out to Fred Kochman, who does a lot of our work on our tennis courts and pickleball courts. So I reached out to Fred, and he wasn't sure of the material either. He said he worked at their Stricker Park. But I forwarded him the pictures, Don, that you emailed me, and he was curious. So he said next time he's in the area, he's going to go out and take a look and let me know kind of what material he thinks that was installed and why it deteriorated like it did. So I'll report back to the board once I hear back from Fred regarding that.
Did the public work or parks mention other locations they had this?
No, she just mentioned, she didn't even mention that the material or any other areas that they are seeing that. She just mentioned those two, like a couple courts out there.
Out there?
Yeah.
But the individual I talked to that showed me this said there's another location.
Oh, really? Yeah, she
Middleton.
didn't mention that at all.
They were having issues with a bunch of locations. So.
Okay.
Okay.
But Fred had mentioned that the park he worked at, they installed something called Titan Tracks, which I'm not familiar with, but he said the pictures piqued his interest and he wanted to go by and just take a look. So a couple project updates for everyone. The 2026 street resurfacing project. We had a pre-construction meeting on Tuesday, May 19th, and Payne and Dolan anticipates starting the week of June 15th, so in 2 weeks. And they're going to knock out the odd streets. There was a couple streets like Spreck Drive, Petersburg Circle, Ryland Street, and then Research Park Drive that they would hit before the Hillside Heights neighborhood. And then our 2026 sidewalk replacement project, that's where we had a bid opening. We didn't receive any bids and then put it back out to bid. And we opened bids on Friday, May 22nd, and we did receive 5 bids this time. The low bid was Duluth Concrete LLC. which came in at $222,958, and then the highest bid out of the 5 was $340,047. So you'll be seeing an upcoming agenda item to award that contract at the next couple board meetings.
Tim, is that going to be significantly different per square foot charge or anything?
I haven't compared it to the previous. Zach's working on it, but
Okay.
I can have that information once we bring it forward to the board for approval. Next up, our Wayland Road paved shoulders project. We anticipate opening bids this Friday, June 5th. So far, we just have one plan holder on that project. So Zach is also working on that project, and he's going to be reaching out to several of the contractors to see why they haven't pulled plans, if they're too busy. And then depending on the response we get, we may be extending that bid opening. And then Basswood Drive, the contractor is continuing construction on Basswood. And then our 2026 Belmar and Tower Hill utility improvement projects. Contractor commenced construction for that project, and they are currently working on Crescent. And then next up, our Tower D project. The contractor continues to paint the water tower. Currently, they have all the primer completed for the water tower. And then lastly, the Badger lift station. That's the lift station located at the intersection of Nob Hill Road and Badger Lane. The City of Madison is managing that project for City of Fitchburg, and they originally anticipated bidding that project this past winter. However, they are still in the process of acquiring an easement, so now they anticipate bidding the project this summer. And with that, does anyone have any questions?
Tim, maybe just on Basswood, once it's all said and done, is Wolf putting no through roadway signs at the corner of whatever it is, Bud Drive and where Basswood connects on? Because there used to be a route,
it's a private drive.
Took. So is it it'll just say private drive?
Yeah.
Okay.
So this maybe is related to the lack of recent rainfall, but holy cow, McKee Farms Park has a lot of algae and eutrophication. I don't remember seeing it look as gross as it is right now for at least recent memory.
Where specifically in McKee Farms Park?
The north and south ponds, both of them, plus the channel between them.
Okay. I can check with Ben and Jorna on that and have them take a look on that. But I know we have an aerator in one of the ponds.
In the south pond, yeah.
Yeah, I spoke to Joran a couple weeks ago, and that was the pond we were having the repairs we made towards the end of last season. Then they removed the aerator, and we didn't know if the repairs would solve the problem that we were having. But when I spoke to Joran, it was in for over a month, and the issues we were having last year, it seemed to have been resolved by the repair work we did. So I'll speak with Joran and Ben and see if they could kind of look at it and if there's any recommendations.
And I haven't looked at other stormwater facilities, so it could be that it's everywhere, or maybe it's isolated to McKee, and if so, it'd be interesting to know if there's a theory as to why it's so bad.
I think it's just lack of changeover in the water.
Right.
Yeah. That's what I wondered.
I think you hit it on the head there.
I saw on my way over here that most of the lawns are in that Green Bay Packers stage where they're a little bit of green and a little bit of gold. Anything further for Tim?
I don't have anything.
All right, we can move on to our agenda items proper. I'm looking for a motion to approve Resolution R-11326, supporting sustainable municipal transportation funding by the state of Wisconsin.
A motion that we go after R-11326.
Thanks, Don. Can I get a second? Second. Thanks, Kim. Tim, what are we doing here?
So this resolution, the League of Wisconsin Municipalities had reached out to us along with all the other municipalities to support a long-term sustainable funding solution to the state's transportation fund. So in the email they sent us, they had attached a template resolution that they were asking each of the municipalities governing bodies to adopt. And basically this is to create a cascade of local governments expressing their support for more local transportation assistance as we prepare to head into the next state biennial budget in 2027. County and town governments will be adopting similar resolutions, and the League of Wisconsin Municipalities are asking that we join this effort. Without additional funding for the state's transportation system, we'll continue to see local transportation aids and grants decline relative to inflation. So they're looking, with municipal budgets already stretched thin, we need all the help we can receive. So they're looking for us to adopt the template resolution that is before you tonight.
Questions and comments? Dave?
I'm not going to question the need. The road builders in on this? Normally the road builders, drive a lot of this stuff. Their their lobbies and legislation. I'm not disputing the need for more money, but
I mean,
it seems to have their fingerprints on it.
Like I mentioned, we got the email from the League of Wisconsin Municipalities. It didn't mention anything about the road builders, but.
Okay.
Other questions? I guess I'll just point out, I've been saying for the past couple of years that at least here in Fitchburg, the amount of money we set aside for road maintenance is not enough for us to keep up with the 30 to 35 year cycle of the road. So, yeah, Dave, I'm with you. I don't doubt the need for this. I also don't doubt the need for additional state funding and better structured funding for a whole host of other issues throughout the entire state, education being the one that comes to mind immediately. But, I don't know. This is an interesting one for the league to tackle. I don't know if they've got others that they're going to push forward at some point or not. Have you heard anything that this is one of many that they're going to move on?
This is the only one I'm aware of. Doesn't mean there's not more out there.
Mm-hmm.
Is Fitchburg behind this? Is this something? And I agree with both these guys. It's there. The need is definitely there. I just don't see that passing this template resolution is going to have really big effect on anything, because it's like, there's really no meat behind it other than we're saying we want to do it. And like Alder Jetzer said, there's a lot of other causes too that all need it. So it's, I don't know. I don't know. Would I say a waste of time? I don't know if I'd say a waste of time, but I don't feel like it's something that is going to have a big impact.
The need's definitely there. As Alder Jetzer mentioned, the city hasn't been keeping up with our roadway, and every year staff puts in a request for more funding for roads, and it doesn't make it past even the mayor's proposed CIP budget, just because there isn't enough funding for everything. So we are falling behind. You know, we're adding roads and not keeping up with that and not keeping up with inflation. So every year we fall a little bit more and more behind.
I think that's all reality, but then I also think too from like the general public, since we just put that $40 tax, wheel tax or whatever for transportation on it, they're going to be, you know, why you're getting more money there. Why is this important at this time? I just think from an image perspective, since that came right after that, but I mean, I agree. I mean, I know there is a big need for, and I know we're getting further behind and it's going to be, I don't know if this is going to do much. Let's just say that.
What has the state road aids looked like over time? Is that like, do we have a chart showing how it's falling behind with in relation to inflation or anything like that? Or, you know, and when I say inflation, I should say that there is the CPI, but then there is also construction related inflation, which has far outpaced the CPI.
Yeah, I think in the referral sheet, Ross had included some stats that the league had sent us just related to the CPI, Consumer Price Index, where that's increased from 2000 to 2025. It's increased 90.7%, which outpaced the state's investment general transportation aids, which increased only 60.4%. So.
And do we know what would be the source for this funding that the league is looking for? I'm just wondering, you know, how does this fit in with something like the Basics Act, which is also going around and at the federal level, which is an effort to have federal dollars flow directly to municipalities rather than go through the state DOT, which tends to not disperse those funds, you know, I'll say equitably given the amount of roads that local municipalities maintain versus the state.
Right. Yeah, the resolution, they didn't list any specific, but they do under the now be it whereby resolved clause list 4 kind of general transportation funding solutions, and really they kind of listed as one, providing adequate and reliable revenue growth for the efficient long-term planning and execution of state and local transportation programs. Number 2, includes responsible and prudent use of general purpose revenue and bonding. 3, adjusts any new and existing transportation user fees and other revenue mechanisms to sustain purchasing power in order to maintain and improve Wisconsin's transportation infrastructure. And number 4, ensures transportation continues to deliver for Wisconsin by adequately funding reconstruction, preservation, and safety investments on the state and local systems. So nothing specific, just very general.
And the League of Wisconsin Municipalities is statewide. Do we have any idea, I mean, did they hit all, 1,400 municipalities in the state, or are they concentrating on all the cities, all the villages?
I don't know. I'm assuming it went out to the entire league. However many that is, I don't know. They had just requested, if we do pass this, that we just let them know so that they can include it with everyone else's.
Can we at least reference a lot of the stuff that folks said? You don't want it to be a lost effort. It's a lobbying effort. They're just going to the legislators. Road builders go to legislators. Other municipalities, everyone's going to hit the legislators up at the same time to say, can you recalculate your formula on how you do it? This one is particular to the GTAs. Can you increase those? You'd kind of like to double up on all your lobbying efforts and say, okay, if you're going to divvy up the money, what's the fair way to do that? Has the league, I'm not overly familiar with them. Have they been do they reach out to you at all, or are they just a lobbying effort that said, everyone sign on to this and we just got 20,000 signatures and that'll look cool?
Yeah, they sent an email just to, I believe I received it, the mayor, most likely Chad did, just.
Okay. But they don't personally come and talk to you at all?
To me, they have not, and I don't believe they've talked to either the mayor or Chad regarding this. Just, it was a general email with the template attached in a Word document format.
Okay. 'Cause a lot of lobbying entities try to at least reach out to their constituents from time to time to say, are we hitting the right targets? Are we looking at the right thing? Is it, our operating budget is just dying versus new construction versus long-range planning. Like, they want everything under the sun. They just want the GTAs to go up. So, and that's just a horse trade between something won't go up then. So. And again, you hit the road builders. If you do a lot of planning studies or hit your operating budget, road builders won't be behind at all. They want new construction. They might increase, the GTAs for local program as long as our construction is showing the increase. So, but all in all, you're not going to lose. It's just they're just lobbying the same legislators, and if it conflicts greatly with what the rest of the lobbyists are doing, the bigger dogs win out. So,
And I guess I'll be interested to see, how many people, how many municipalities pass a resolution and what effect it has, and whether that's a strategy for the future for other types of funding.
And that's something if we do pass this, when we send it to them to request that information, I can report back on, how many other resolutions they received and are moving forward with this.
Any more discussion? All right, I will go ahead and call the vote. All in favor of resolution R11326 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It's unanimous. Moving on to 6B, looking for a motion to approve resolution R12126, authorizing the water utility to file a simplified rate increase application with the Public Service Commission of Wisconsin.
I'll move approval of resolution R12126, authorizing
I'll
utility to
second.
file a simplified rate application.
I'll second it.
Okay. Tim, will you be talking us through this, or have you brought a minion for that?
Carrie, would you like to introduce it, or you want me to? Sure. So the Public Service Commission of Wisconsin provides for a simplified rate case application process. The application for the rate increase can be filed no later than June 15th, 2026, with an effective date of September 16th, 2026. And the increase allowed is 3%. So an increase is necessary to reduce the existing deficiencies in present water rates and to avoid large future increases. So we're looking for council to authorize the water utility to file a 3% simplified rate case with the Public Service Commission to be effective September 16th, 2026.
Dave?
Is it every 5 years we have to do a full rate case? Does that sound right, Carrie? Okay. So prior to the state giving us the ability to do the simplified one, we would do it every 5 years, and then bang, and so the simplified has allowed us to maintain, to not fall behind, and I've appreciated that. And the cost, I don't know, does Carrie and Tim, do you have a sense by doing the simplified one, does it reduce our costs some on the full one that we have to do at 5 years, or is it still about the same amount? Okay. Right. Okay.
This application process lets us keep current. When we go for the full rate cases, we aren't having these huge increases at the time.
Can you tell us how much the costs have gone up in the last year? I mean, would this cover it 3% on a yearly basis, or are we falling a little behind, falling a little behind, falling a little bit behind over 5 years, and then after we do 5 years of 3, we're gonna have to go to 10 or whatever?
Filed,
There we go, now we get here.
so,
Oi!
Shazam.
I'll wait.
Well, look, he's gonna turn the dial down.
No, go. So like Tim said, our last rate increase went into effect of April 1st, 2024, and that was a full rate case. We did bring this forward last year, as you may be. So we found out then that the rates had to be in effect for a full calendar year, not just a year. So we had to wait all of 2025. Now we're coming back in 2026 and looking for a simplified rate case. When we filed our PSC report this year, and it was for 2025 numbers, our rate of return was at 3.84%. We are allowed 6.4. So we want to keep our rate of return as close to that 6.4% as we can, so we can avoid these larger increases when we do go for the full rate case. The way this is timed is that we could do one now. We will have these rates in effect all of 2027. We'll still have time to come in again for a simplified rate case in 2028. After that, we would have to do another full rate case, 2029. So we're just trying to keep pace with our rate of return, what we're allowed.
So this is taking us from 3.8% to 4.5%, and we'll do one more simplified rate case before the next full?
It depends on when our rates are in effect for all of 2027. We'll do our audit, then in 2028, we'll look at what the rate of return was when we file that, and if it's quite a bit below where we're supposed to be, we'll file again. But if it's close to that, we won't do anything.
So basically, it's an every other year thing because you have to have the full calendar year of data.
Correct. Well, the rates, we were effective in April 1st. So April 1st of 2025, we had those rates in effect, but they said, no, it has to be a whole calendar year. Okay. So we had to wait all of 2025 before we can come back now.
Sure this is enough?
That's all that.
That's as high as they can go, yeah.
Yeah, that's what's allowed when it's simplified. You can't go higher than 3%.
Tim, can you comment, people watching, what the effects of building a new water tower and pump have? We're borrowing, the utility is borrowing the money to do that. Maybe we have some in reserve, but what's the effect? What's the effect on the utility ratepayer when we have to make a large investment like that?
Well, I don't believe we've borrowed anything to date. I think it's inevitable. That day is coming, but to date, nothing's been borrowed for the capital improvements.
We will use mostly or all of our water impact fees for this. So the money that we've been collecting will go towards 12.
Thank you for that explanation.
Hopefully, we won't have to build another water tower in the near future.
So it says our rate base is only 15.2 million. Can you explain what that includes? Because I got to believe there's well over $15 million worth of infrastructure.
There is, but the rate base is based on utility financed. It does not include developer contributed. So the developer contributed amount is 25 million.
Okay.
So there is quite a bit more, but the rate base is only utility financed.
Okay.
That would be the means that go in when a subdivision goes in, the developers pay.
Yes.
And, okay.
additional questions for Carrie or Tim?
I believe it's better to do it in smaller increments so you don't have the big jump. I mean, it doesn't, it still affects people, but it doesn't, you know, it isn't as difficult as it is if you stayed, you know, did it all at once. So I think this is probably a good way to do it. And like you said, it makes it easier for us not having to go through the full rate study at this point and doing that once every 5 years. So I guess I'm in support of it. I was just wondering, you know, so you're going at the 3. Have you ever gone in and simplified for under the 3 because you didn't think you needed that much? Or is it always going to be 3?
No, when we go in for simplified, we usually are
Use what
allowed
the
the 3
maximum is?
because we're that much lower than where we're supposed to be.
Or could be? I mean, because it's your rate of return, right? It's, so you have a goal for a rate of return, but sometimes you just don't meet that.
And with this increase, the average home would see an increase of $1.42 per quarter or $5.68 per year.
Yeah. Which they won't even hardly notice.
Yeah, right. I should know this, but what is the largest, you know, of your water bill? Is it the electricity, the pump? Is it the labor to run the department? Do you have a sense what are the top 2 of the cost?
In the water department, I would say labor is our biggest cost.
That would be my guess too, yeah. How many utility workers do we have? You know, they work on other things, but dedicated to the water, is it 6?
Yeah, maintenance, it's 6 or 7, and then, you know, we had part of Tracy, my salary,
Yep.
Chelsea, the utility engineer, and then we have an engineering technician too, and on the admin side, and then finance too,
Okay.
with billing and.
Thank you.
Question I have is just for educational my part. The rate is flat, so if I'm a 12,000 gallon user, I'm getting 3% on that. If I'm 150,000, I'm getting 3% on that. So it's just a volume base. Is that typically how the other municipalities do it around, or do high-end users get a higher surcharge? Or
Well, our rates are based on the more you use, the more you pay, except for some of the commercial ones are at a little lower rate because they're more consistent, where we did our inclining rate structure because the residential would seem to, like in the summer, they'd go up because they're watering, and then, so that's why we structured it that way, so the more people use, the more they pay.
okay, is that structuring similar to what Middleton does, or Winona, or Madison, or maybe you don't know?
I don't know their specific structure. Some are on declining, some are, we decided to do inclining, so we didn't want to encourage the more you use, the less you pay mentality. So this was quite a few years ago, we structured it this way. So, and we kind of left the commercial people, the ones that are using pretty much the same amount all the time, every year, year after year. So we left them, it's more the residential that we were having the huge increases for like summer watering and things like that.
Okay.
Do you remember off the top of your head, just for the benefit of the viewing audience at home, how many steps are there and how much is it, what do you pay for the first, N thousand gallons?
I don't.
Okay.
It is on
It's on the back of the quarterly water bill, right?
It's the first 8,000, then it's the 16,000, and I think it's 32. And then anything over that is a separate rate. We also have the irrigation rate on there, so there's different rates for all those things.
I'm sensing a lull in the question, so I'm going to go ahead and
I don't have any more, Bill.
call a vote on, all in favor of Resolution R12126, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It is unanimous. Thank you. Moving on to item 6C, I'm looking for a motion to approve Resolution R10326, approving the agreement for subdivision improvements in the plat of the 8th addition to 9 Springs.
I'll move approval of Resolution R103-26.
Thank you, Kim.
I'll second it.
Oh. All right, we'll give it to Dave W. Tim, give us the highlights.
The Common Council back on March 24th, 2026 by Resolution R-79-26 conditionally approved the 8th addition to 9 Springs plat. The Land Division Ordinance requires the execution of a contract for public improvements prior to the signature of the plat by the city clerk. So we're looking for council to approve the agreement for subdivision improvements in the plat of 8th addition to 9 Springs.
Okay. Any questions and comments? Dave, go ahead.
Trying to find it. How many acres are in this when I'm looking at the map here? I'm trying to find it in here.
Let's see, I can pull it up on GIS.
See a bunch of different numbers.
So you got about 8.42 and then also 8.8, so about 17 acres.
Okay.
Can you highlight on there where this is there? Oh, right there. Okay, got it.
Yeah, and then it's also this side too.
What are they proposing to put in this development?
Are we even allowed to know? It's smart code, so.
Right, and it's zone T5, and it's unknown the amount of dwelling units right now on what they would put in.
That's the problem with smart code is it's hard to understand what it might be going in here.
And Tim, in the packet, some of the stuff is highlighted, though that was, who did the highlighting for what reason?
Highlighting on what particular pages?
For
Just
instance,
several of them.
on page 4 of 23, page 15 in the overall packet. And the very first one is the one where it says the subdivider shall furnish and install
Pedestrian street light?
a street light on the north side of East Sherrill Parkway, just east of the intersection of East Sherrill and Lacey Road. And that is actually not in this, within the boundaries outlined there. And I was wondering if the developer was highlighting that and asking questions.
No, I think Tracy had that highlighted just so the developer wouldn't miss that, because that's kind of very unique to this plat.
Okay. So we actually did mean for them to install this
Yes.
outside of the, okay, yeah. I had a couple other questions. I'll let the board go first. Okay. So 1.01, item 6, where it talks about street tapers, is that at Balboa, I think it was? Is that for vehicle traffic safety, or is that for like pedestrians and bus users and stuff? I didn't know if that was bump outs or if that was just like painted lines in the middle of the street at turning points.
You said 1.016?
Yes.
Street tapers.
Street tapers.
Shall install street tapers.
What street does it reference it on, Bill?
It says Lacey Road at the intersection of Balboa Pass,
Okay.
which I don't believe exists yet.
Yeah, I was
Okay.
gonna say, I don't know where Balboa Pass is. I couldn't
I
find
think-
it on any of the maps.
That's going to come in perpendicularly off to the
Correct,
west.
and I believe, so
Lacey.
you can turn, a vehicle can either make a right turn in on Balboa or a right turn from Balboa onto Lacey. So that those tapers would be for those movements.
Vehicular traffic
Yeah,
mostly.
vehicular.
Okay. So there's an existing bus stop somewhat north of that, but I didn't know if that was going to stay there or if that was going to move to, for instance, the intersection with Balboa.
As of right now, it's proposed to stay where it is. Doesn't mean it can't move to a different location depending on what gets developed here.
Right. There's also in section 1.02, item number 2, it talks about tree grates. And I feel like Deanna said we were getting rid of tree grates from our smart
Yeah.
code regulations.
Yeah, I thought I heard that too.
For this development, it's staying in because they do have it to the south already.
Okay.
And then though we're not having them constructed as part of this, but prior to the certificate of occupancy, it'll need to be constructed along with the terraces because we had some issues with settling where they would install them now, but the tree grates wouldn't be put in right away, and we've had issues, so we're holding that off just prior to occupancy to having those installed.
And then are the terraces going to be grass or are they going to be concrete?
Concrete terraces, 7 feet wide.
Okay. Section 1.06, the stormwater facilities. Those are going to be, I jotted the question down as I was taking notes. I wondered whether those were going to automatically be added to our model, and then later on in section 6.06, I think that's exactly what it says, right? The infrastructure inventory updates.
Yes.
Okay. So the developer pays to get for whatever effort it takes to get those incorporated into our overall model?
Yes, I believe so. Where's the
That was 6.06.
6.06?
Yeah.
Page 17.
Yeah, so
Yes.
GIS system and water model. So when it says GIS system, what does that entail? Is that like new roads and parcels boundaries and stuff?
Correct. So as the infrastructure is built and we get the as-builts, then we take those as-builts and input them into our GIS system, the water, sewer, stormwater, roadways, all that. So it'd be Dakota's time for that, but he would then be coding his time, and that
Against
would be
that
charged
project.
to the developer.
Okay. And I just also wanted to point out back in sections 1.04 and 1.05, there's talk of the developers are required to submit submit their plans to the city engineers, to the DNR, to CARPC, to Madison Metropolitan
Thank you.
Sewerage District.
Thank you. Thank you for highlighting that. We are indeed not violating every stormwater law known to mankind as
Or-
we are accused of.
I guess if we are, we're in good company.
Yes.
Any other questions on this item? All right, I can go ahead and call the vote. All in favor of Resolution R10326, approving the agreement for subdivision improvements, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. It is again unanimous. And we have reached the end of our action items. Moving on to item 7A, announcements. Next Board of Public Works meeting will be Monday, June 15th, same time, same place. Is that also going to be the first concert at McKee?
Yes,
It is. So,
Gonna be a what? Concert?
concert at McKee.
concert at McKee.
They're always whatever, on a night we have a meeting.
Yeah. So, well, all right, yeah, Tim, keep the agenda
It'll be
light,
a
and
light
then we can
agenda.
all head over there.
Or the chair has to sing to us, one of the
Yeah.
You really don't want to hear that. Okay, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion adjourned.
Don and Dave, thank you. All in favor of adjournment, say aye.
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 Any opposed? We are adjourned at 6:14 PM. All right.